Right. You're leaking.
Good afternoon, councillors. Welcome to Tuesday the 18th of March for our extraordinary council meeting, and welcome to you, Karen, coming in via Zoom. It's good to have you with us. We have our usual order of business, but given it's an extraordinary meeting, we will be straight on to the decision item, but I'll just work through the matters. We do and have already received 2 leave of absences from Councillor Ross Barnes and Councillor Dave Hislop, and so they've been formally moved prior to today's meeting. Health and safety, should we need to exit the building, you are aware of those procedures and where our assembly point is. I am intending to read the affirmation today, given the level of significance of this report. That it's noted, I'm sure, that it is, the level of significance is high, and for that I believe that it should be honoured by the affirmation. So we pledge that we will faithfully and impartially use our skills, wisdom and judgment throughout the discussions and deliberations ahead of us today, in order to make responsible and appropriate decisions for the benefit of the Hiranui district at large. We commit individually and as council to the principles of integrity and respect, and to upholding the values that we believe distinguish and enrich our district. Thank you. Given the one item for this afternoon's extraordinary meeting from a conflict of interest declaration, do any councillors have any conflict that they should declare? She's good. Okay, excellent, perfect. And we have our usual recording for today's meeting. Thank you, Graham. Is there any urgent business that we need to attend for today? No, thank you very much indeed. So that does take us on to our decision item 1.1, which is the consultation models for the delivery of water services. Hamish, you have written this paper. We have been working steadily through understanding the implications of the provision of water services, and have come with good prior knowledge and understanding of what that will mean for us as a district, but actually the community that we serve. So if I can ask you to just take us through the paper as written, and councillors may have some clarity in their minds, but we'll just work through this in a diligent manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this paper naturally follows on from the decision the council made on 25th of February regarding its preferred way of moving forward with local water done well. Your preferred option, as you noted at that time, was that to establish a joint water services council controlled organisation with Kaikoura District Council. So this matter that was in front of you is approval of the consultation, adopting the consultation document on the proposed model, which looks at the third option and the enhanced status quo is the alternate option. So the paper itself is pretty straightforward, and I think we take it as read. The answer of it is actually in the consultation document, and this handout that you'll also have. And Karen, I hope we've got this online. The impact on financial position that Jason just circulated.
Can we just double check that? Karen, do you have the information that Hamish is just speaking about? Yes, you do. So you should have 2 papers, the engagement and comms plan and the financial position.
Correct, yes, I've got all that. Thanks, Mari.
Okay, sorry, thank you.
So the consultation proposed is a series of public meetings spread widely across the district. Will be relatively brief public meetings with probably 20 minutes to half an hour of explanation and 20 minutes to half an hour of questions of clarification. Obviously, any questions that can't be answered on the day will be noted down and the response will go back to those individuals. There's also an option to have drop-in sessions as well around the district, and it will depend on the level of interest and engagement that we get, whether we determine that it's useful to have drop-in sessions. So if we're getting a lot of questions and it feels like we're rushed for time, then we will go back with drop-in sessions to those communities and have a more one-on-one with those people that have further questions. So that's the guts of the plan. The document itself explains to people what the options are and how they can engage through the submission process. Obviously, submissions will be heard and people have the opportunity to speak to their submissions. Council will see all submissions, have the opportunity to hear from those submitters that wish to be heard. This is a relatively important submission process in the scheme of things, because if this process is done correctly, then we don't have to do an amendment to the long-term plan to allow for the water services CCO to be set up. This is deemed to be the consultation that encompasses that long-term plan aspect of it as well. So it's important that we do a good job of it, and you know, the community has their say. The impact on financial position paper, which most of you have just seen today, it's there. I think it gives a pretty good explanation of the information that we've utilised to make the decision on the preferred option and how that looks. So I think it's pretty clear. At that, Murray, I'm open for questions.
Sure.
Or discussion.
Yep. Okay. But thank you very much for that. Look, I think we understand what we're here for today, and I'm just keen to consider if there's any further questions. So I'll start with you, Gary. Thank you.
Thank you. I agree. It's a good package. Just that these are just additional points and consistent with the point I might have raised a little while ago at an earlier discussion. The first thing is, I think within the package, we need to put a little more emphasis or a little more clarity around the fact that the business as usual model is not an option. Because I don't think the public at large understand that. And we got used to that in all the work we've done in all the papers. But given that we're going out, I think we need it, almost it's in the overview, I think, of some of the words there somewhere. It might even be a sentence within your words. Yeah. But I just think we need to make that point that this business as usual is not an option. And maybe within that, again, a note I made, maybe we include, if there is a link to a simple version of the legislation or a LGNZ summary of the legislation and what it means for councils, the fact that, you know, the Commerce Commission is involved and all the rest of it. I just wonder if we don't try and put those in the words, but put a link in there as well. If those who want to read it can go and find it. That's just one point with regard to business as usual. The other piece is, I looked at Jason's numbers this morning, and I agree with Hamish's comments. It's a great, simple 3-4 page summary of the financials. I think the challenge is to get it into a consultation document in 1 page. I think you're on. There needs to be a simple 1 page, 4, 5 or 6 bullet points out of those pages that everyone can sort of get their head around. They can then go into this in more detail if they wish to. I think putting that 4 pager in front of people, many of them will. They just won't. They won't be engaged with it. They just won't grasp it.
So I think they're both good points there. Claire, you can work at something regarding BAU not being an option into here somewhere. Jace will have a crack at simplifying that down. I don't know if we'll get it down to 1 page unless we use very small print, but I think we can knock it down a bit.
and there is an issue with what we have to consult on from the legislation, which does, you need to show the impacts on and the impacts on the council of removing. So, yeah.
I'm not saying
I'd
this
love to do it
doesn't,
in one page.
I'm not saying this doesn't go out in some part of the package, but there is also a one-page summary that,
Yeah, so this could be an appendice to
we're going to
the.
see if we can do it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Page of- This is appendice, as long as we don't get our wires crossed between the two.
We do a summary of the whole lot. That makes sense.
I think if we just include the financial summary in the report as intended, and then just attach the full financial bit into an appendix, and also the appendix, if we put a link to probably the IA's explanation of local would have done well. Click on that link and then
I'm sorry, I mean, I haven't looked at the links for more information here to see what is available already, so it probably just supports Gary's if those links provide from a primary context of what it means to us. It might mean that there is another section of actually what it broadly, in those broad terms, what it might mean as well. So it might be just more additional information in that profile of the document. You reckon?
yeah, I think you need an explanation of what they might see when they click on those links, so that that can say that, you know, this page will outline DIA's broad overview of local water done well, etc.
Just if I just can round up my points, it then I guess in my head takes me to how the actual public meetings will be structured. Are you planning to use a PowerPoint with half a dozen slides to have it in front of people, or are you just going to talk through the detail? Because I got a feeling it needs to be visual as well as talk through.
Yeah, so some of our community facilities aren't well suited to PowerPoint displays. So our experience in the past has been mixed with the use of PowerPoints. But my preference is always to have some key bullet points on a PowerPoint, so we'll look to do that.
I just think in this case it's so complex for people who haven't lived with this like we have.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to get a 20-minute download and then.
Yeah, interestingly, also, I mean, I've attended the last 3 autumn shows across Murray, Cheviot, and then Arden last weekend, and included it in my presentation to the all in attendance. And I mean, this is only a very small snapshot of feedback, but actually people have responded and seem to have been following our media releases with a certain amount of understanding, but and I'm looking to anecdotally say, you know, understand the concept of why we made this choice over other choices, but they probably don't understand the suite of choices, and I think that's what you're discussing as well.
That's encouraging feedback.
Yeah, they're very informal and, you know, social conversations more than anything else. Yeah.
Thank you.
Have you raised all the issues
Yeah,
that you've got? That's great, thank you. I think I have Pauline and then Fiona.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. So the Chair, look, I would reiterate what Gary started with. This is a very good package, and he's already traversed one of the things that I was concerned about, which was just some sort of financial application summary. So we won't go down that track. But I know that we have legislative constraints in regards to necessary consultation timeframes. But given the significance of the decision, I'm a little bit concerned that our consultation period closes on the 21st of April, which is Easter Monday. And that means that anybody who was intending on a hard copy submission would need to, in actual fact, hard copies closed for them on the 18th. And I just wondered around the thinking, I'm assuming it's to do with our timeframe hearing submissions the following week, but I wondered if, you know, we should at the very least extend it one day to get the Tuesday in.
Yeah, I think in the past when we've we've just had a motion to receive late.
Yeah.
And I guess that would be, continue to be the convention of this council.
Correct, Madam Mayor, our general practice
Yeah.
is we receive submissions right up until the day.
Yeah.
You got to put a cut point in, but we receive them right up until the day of hearing them, and in fact, in some cases, we have added in submissions, with, you know, written submissions into the hearing process. So, yes, there will be some submissions that come in late, but it's never been a problem for this council before to accept those late submissions.
And I guess I did consider that, and we as council sitting around this table understand that, but our public who are looking at it might go, oh, it's the 21st, I've missed out, and might not choose to, you know, move forward. And it will only affect the hard copy, and it may only be 1 or 2, but, you know, it is a significant decision. So, yeah, I just wanted to raise that. And if councillors are happy with that closing date being Easter Monday, given that, you know, our own service centre is closed from Friday, then that's okay.
Yes, they could pop in the box at the front of the library books.
Yep.
You know, the box, I mean, if someone had a hard copy and wanted to deliver it to the library, they could just use the returns box and it would get inside the system. But, you know, I guess that's the importance of your voice into your communities as well. So if you're having social conversations, every one of us, I'll come to you in a minute, Robbie, that we just say, look, you know, this is an important piece of significant change to our district. Your voice is important. These are the ways you can get that to us, you know, and encourage as best we can.
So all that considered, is there a reason as to why we couldn't extend it to the end of the Tuesday, the 22nd, given that our officers aren't on site anyway?
Madam Mayor, there's a time period needed to late submissions, bring them all together, double check them, all the rest of that sort of thing. It's quite a bit of work for officers handling the submission process, and you got to have a cut-off date. And if you cut them off on Easter Friday, Good Friday, people would say, oh, it was Good Friday, it was a holiday, so you're back to the Thursday, you know, or you're out to the Tuesday again. And so you actually, well, we have to go to the 21st as a minimum anyway.
I understand.
We go to the 22nd, and it really does squeeze up the opportunity for officers to get this right, because it's important that we get it right. And if you see the amount of frantic work that goes on your long-term plan submission processes or other things where we have large submissions, there's a hell of a lot of work that goes into getting those submissions in order and available. The other thing is that they have to be available to you to read, and if we've got large numbers of submissions, you won't have the opportunity to read them. So I think that's important as well.
Sure. So that's fine, I've traversed.
Yeah, thank you. Look, is there any, does everybody feel comfortable about the information we've shared around the timing, the reason the timing is in place, and, you know, the point about possible extension or not, you know, so are you going to raise a question in response to this, or I'll go?
Oh, no, I just think, I think you've got to have a date at the end of the time. So, and we've got a bit of give, like I said, when we can accept late submissions.
Okay, thank you. Important discussion. I think I have Fiona and then Robbie. Thank you, Fiona.
And yeah, really sort of, again, Gary's laid it out pretty well, but the conversations that I've had with the local community, actually it is fundamentally important that they understand status quo is not an option, and that is, and that's when I've seen light bulbs sort of go off. So we're already going to address that, but I think that I agree that it's a significant piece to have. Other than that, I'm quite comfortable.
Robbie.
Has our approach dovetailed with Kaikoura? Are we all sing off the same song sheet? Because some of this media will go across both areas and we don't want any mixed messages or whatever. Are we keeping an eye on, you know, are we consistent with what Kaikoura might put out?
Yeah.
So through Madam Mayor, we're consistent timing wise, in that they'll make their decision on their consultation tomorrow, and the consultation will start a day after ours and close a day later. But they're not considering their submissions until 6th and 7th of May because they close that day later. The messaging, we've shared our documents with each other. Their document is consistent with ours largely, but remember that they made a decision that they're going to consult on 3 options. They're going to consult on the joint CCO, they're going to consult on a single CCO and an in-house business unit. So they deliberately made that decision as a council, they want to consult on the other option. So they're not entirely the same, but yeah, consistent.
Time wise, we've always been, we go Tuesday and their meetings Wednesday, and that's tried to, you know, parallel that through this process so that each community member, or every community member gets similar, in a similar time frame, really, notwithstanding the slightly different consultation messaging. Excellent.
It's good getting these pamphlets. I wondered if I could get the times of the meetings in each area, so we can, if we put them up somewhere, they're both there.
Yep.
So, you know, it gives people an idea, where's a meeting if they want to go.
Yeah, we're still working through those timings, just with hall bookings, etc. But we're pretty close, so we'll get those shortly.
Because I just thought that'd be.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Both are confirmed dates and times. Once you've got it, it's capable.
And I think the other messaging that we, as elected members, should be getting out to your community is that if you can't attend the one in your local neighbourhood, to attend the neighbouring one, you know, the one that suits you best. So if you're travelling through and the one here in Amberley and you live in Amber Springs, absolutely fine, because the messaging will be exactly the same. The information shared will be conveyed in a manner that we get consistently across the district. So you don't need to, if you've missed yours, you can do it on. That's okay. Tom.
Yeah, take on board Gary's points really well, and that business as usual is not the option. But if we look at the page 14 of our agenda, which actually does include the statement about option 2, the third paragraph, so to speak, it says the council is providing services, is currently providing services in this way. So it almost appears as if there is a business as usual option, because it does say that, you know, we've got to fully ring-fence the financial services. But it does appear that the status quo is actually an option, because that minimises any external influence. It actually says the council is currently providing services in this way. So what it appears to me is that the business as usual option does appear, if you flick through that and fully understanding.
So that sentence needs to be beefed up.
Yes,
To understand what that sentence is about. Tom,
yes, it's not just business as usual. There is, you know, and it just appears, you know, you read that, and, oh, actually, well, why not? Why don't we stick with the status quo?
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a really good point that you raised. So thank you. It needs to just have some a little bit more understanding.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can manage that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. That's really good. Anything else, councillors? Anything else? Just there's an incredibly small, minute detail by comparison here, but I just noticed, just look at page 3 under next steps. In May, after considering submission, council will, after decision. Need to make a decision there. Oh no, yeah. I know it's just jumped out at me, that's all. Yeah.
It was like I sent you out before the final version.
Okay. Well, I guess all of our eyes over these pages actually tells us that we don't miss any bits. Yeah. No, that's great. Okay. So in general principle, we're sort of, you know, happy with some of the amendments that have been offered already as far as this goes, but what else do we need to work through as far as this Do you want to go into detail through the engagement on action plan? Or we just take that as read? Is there anything you want to highlight there, or?
No, that's
It's just a supporting
describe-
document?
describe how we're gonna go about the
Yeah.
engagement, show that we're through a process to get to there.
So do councillors have any, you've read through that and it fits with your expectation? Nothing else to add?
But just to add to, I've got the communication plan, and I see, like a cherry at the budget, I've got it. It comes out on Wednesdays, and it's best to have it on the Wednesday, the day before the Thursday that the public meeting is, because that just reminds people, they read it with that morning before. I tend to remember it and reading it in the week. Just might be better to, instead of having the first one, bring it to the second one and then having the third one.
Yeah, so getting the time
Lay
of
out
the
in front,
ads.
just
Yeah, okay.
don't have any more ads, but just time them a bit closer. Because if you're having it on a Thursday, Wednesday's the day they come out, in our local. And I think anywhere, if you can get them closer to the meeting as possible, it tends to keep people's memory of it.
The early one's booked, but we can add another one.
So,
Yeah, one's booked, but we can certainly add another one.
Yeah. And probably this is more suited for you, Karen. You may have noticed in the local newsletter this week, the advertisement for Monday night wasn't in. And so Laura has followed that through, because I was hunting for it myself. And there is the flyer going out to all email addresses, and there's been a bit of a mail drop. I think, Claire, you've done some work this morning on that. So the information about Monday night's session in Harden is going to be a little bit of work. Do you want to tell us what you've done? I think you've done some work this morning on that, Claire, as well. So just for Karen, so she knows locally.
Physical flyers have been dropped at the dairy and Harden and at the post office.
Yeah. So yeah, is anything that you might like to add to that, Karen? Are you satisfied with that? So they're in the PO boxes. It's going to, the circulation for the email will probably meet the households that are going to have an interest in that. Do you agree with that? Are you happy with?
I think that should get quite good cover, Madam Mayor. I noticed that I got that through this morning. I get mine by email, and it came about 9:18 or something this morning. So with an apology for the oversight. So I think that seems to be quite a significant email list he's got. So hopefully that will help with the coverage. Thank you.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you. Okay, thank you. All right. So we understand what this is. Tom?
Yeah, just a thought. If Kaikoura went for a single CCO, then we are left with fallback of just a ring-fenced council organisation.
Or we go out and consult again on a single CCO.
Yes.
Yeah, all right, that's it, yeah, so we'd have to go out, we'd have to go through this again.
If that was the pathway ended, we would need to have another paper and reconsider our position and our options, I guess, our best options going forward.
Yeah.
So
Just to clarify that process a little further, and again, I'm looking ahead in a particular scenario, if we got very strong feedback in this process that the public at large preferred a ring-fenced in-house model, and Kaikoura is going, it's like that would almost give us the direction. We wouldn't need to do a second consultation, would we?
that's right.
If the view from the public was mixed across the two options that are in here, then would need to seek some more clarity.
Well, maybe or maybe not, depends on the mix.
Yeah.
It was fairly evenly split.
And the weight of the arguments, I guess, and the points being made and all the rest. No, thank you.
And I mean, just some of the conversations up and down the country, Waikato is 7 councils looking to join, some potentially, I think we heard going early and then potentially some coming in later. So there's a whole lot of configurations of different processes, I guess, that councils are going through to find the best position going forward. So, yeah, we're working through it as diligently as best we can.
They're not looking to immediately form a 7-council CCO.
No.
A couple of them will form a CCO and then others will potentially join later on, is what their work is showing.
Okay, so, oh, sorry, Karen.
Just a quick thought, and happy to be guided by South Ward councillors on this. Got quite a lot of folk living down that way, and I noticed the Balcairn and Amberley options both seem to be around that sort of 5:30, and whereas some of the others around the district are evening ones. I know they could travel to Harden or whatever, but would it be worth thinking about Balcairn having a different time slot to Amberley or the other way around?
Amberley is definitely after a full council meeting day.
Yep.
And the citizenship on that day as well, so it's quite a big day for council. The Balcairn one is the following day, 5:30 to 6:30.
It's very closely followed by Waipara on the same day. So I'm assuming some staff, well, you guys at least, will go straight from Balcairn to Waipara. So,
Correct, we're doing 2 meetings at night
Yeah.
that week.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so it's a fairly tight schedule. My view, Karen, and without repeating what South Ward councillors might want to say, is that if we have very low turnout, well, then we should run some drop-in sessions around South Ward to see whether we can get turnout. We can do some of those later into the evening if required.
Happy with that, Karen? Yeah, and I think that if we know that the schedule as we know it at the moment is our baseline, and if there are communities that are seeking, we'll do our very best to furnish their request to, for more information or another session or whatever. So, but we're in that time frame that we need to be considerate of what we can offer as well. Vanessa.
Through the chair, just subsequent to Karen's comment, we did that very successfully in Amberley in regards to our submissions with the package. There was a demand of the community, I think, and so we did that. It was quite successful.
Sure. Yeah.
Clearing our stuff.
Okay, so information is in your hands, and it's about getting as many voices as you do. And we need to listen. Okay.
And maybe before someone jumps in and moves the opposite recommendation, if I'm trying to do so, we consider the amendments that have been discussed here today and inclusion of those two. Your Honour, good.
Yeah, so we have had some feedback from councillors, which we can include in the recommendation, and that would include some minor amendments as presented by councillors. So if someone is of the mind to move, Vanessa, you're happy to move?
Yes, I'm happy to recommend that we accept the officer recommendation, or move, sorry. With those amendments.
Yeah, okay. So if I may, Vanessa, if council got the consultation document plus the other circulated documents that are in front of us, and the models for delivery of water service with minor amendments, that's what we're receiving today. Yeah, thank you. So you're happy with that wording?
Are you able just to reiterate those amendments? I think we all know what they are, but just.
Yep. So the engagement and communication action plan and the financial impact position. What we've
No, I
received
think we need to look at the amendments to the document.
Yes.
So
Specifically the link to the DIA.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So the amendments that Gary suggested regarding the clarification of the status quo and how that's not, going forward, is the linkage to some external documentation, clarification of those external linkages. There's a point that Tom made about that almost looks like status quo. The in-house business unit model.
A simplified financial summary.
Simplified financial summary.
Sorry. So Graham's got that sorted.
And we leave that with officers. too.
Yeah, we got that sorted. So you're happy to move that, and I think we will understand that. Thank you, Vanessa. Do I have a seconder? Gary? Any further questions to clarify? With all that included, those move the, support the movement as noted, all in agreement with that, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, that motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, Karen, for dropping in on Zoom, but the meeting is now closed. Thank you.